Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. This is Fatina Kirkendall, and you're tuning in to another Chronicles for a Favorite Woman. I am so excited about the month of February because it is the month of love, but it's also one of my favorite months for so many reasons. My birthday being one of it, and the guest that's coming on is her birthday month as well. So, with that being said, you all know I don't get the show started without prayer. So, let's just go right into it. So, Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you, we praise you, we give you glory, honor, and praise. Lord, we just thank you for another opportunity to praise your name. We thank you for the opportunity for just allowing us to be here. We ask you that you forgive us for any sins that we've committed, thought, word, and deed. And Lord, I thank you for the people that are destined and designed to hear this message from our special guest tonight. I thank you for her strength. I thank you for her power. I just thank you for who she is because she is in you. Lord, I thank you for the opportunity. So, right now, at this very moment, Lord, I humble myself, Fuchina the man, and I place myself at the throne of your feet. And I invite your Holy Spirit to come in to saturate this conversation tonight. And it's in Jesus' name we ask and pray. Amen. So, amen, 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 amen. So, listen, thank you all for tuning in. You all know the month of February. I've already started my month of love, and we started with the couple last weekend with Reverend Dr. Christopher Thompson and First Lady Thompson. That was awesome. But tonight we're going to be talking about self love. We're going to be talking about love. Self love, self hope, self everything, because it starts with self first. And the story that's getting ready to come on tonight is so awesome. One of the things I do is now I ask people if they had to make a description of their life, if they had to give me a description, what would it be? And hers is behind closed doors. Now, when I say this is a phenomenal woman, she is a phenomenal woman. And you're going to see when she get on here because she got that little spicy, and I love it. I love it. But she is a survivor on so many levels. But I'm not going to continue to talk. What I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce to some and present to others Miss Ylonda Nero. And how are you, Miss Ylonda?
I'm blessed, thank you.
Thank you. What did I tell you all about the hair? Didn't I tell you the spicy right there? She's working that right there. So thank you so much for taking the time out to come on the Chronicles platform. It is definitely a privilege and a pleasure to have you here. So I'm going to ask you three questions. Who you are, what do you do, and why do you love doing what you do?
All right. I am Ylonda Nero. I'm the oldest of two children. Both of my parents are deceased, Vanessa Nero Frazier and John Frazier. I have one sister that lives in Seattle, Synovia Itzen. I have one niece, Sierra Itzen, and I have one daughter, Shakira's Toplin, and then my two auntie sisters, Zelda and Tanya. We all raised up like sisters, the four of us. Um, I work with Charleston County School District. I teach pre-K.
Hmm. Okay, so with that being said, we're gonna keep it moving. Don't matter. We just gonna keep it moving. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then I have over 35 years experience with children. I love working with children. I and everything, and um yes, I just love doing what I'm doing and having fun with the little ones.
Yes, there's something special now. I mean, they're so young and impressionable, and to be a part of that, that's awesome. That is
Yes.
awesome. That is awesome. Now, I asked you if you had to put a title to your life or your life story, what would it be? And you said behind closed doors. Why?
I chose that for my title because in 2013 my mom passed unexpectedly, and then 4 months later I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I went through a lot behind closed door that people didn't actually see. When they see me all doll up, cute, and everything. But there was a lot going on behind closed door that people didn't even know that I was battling with cancer, breast cancer, but I still lived my life as if it was normal as much as I could. I
Mhm.
attended parties, I did events, I did wedding, but I was sick as a dog and I still showed up.
Mm.
And so behind the closed door, there was a lot going on. There was a lot of pain. There was times I could not even walk. I couldn't even bathe my own self, but no one even really knew it until I shared my story at my victory and praise celebration.
Wow.
Mhm.
So, what was the time frame between you finding out you had cancer, going through doing what you need to do, and then the victory and praise? What was the time span between that?
It was, I was diagnosed on March the 2nd. Actually, I had my mammogram on February 26th, which was my birthday. And
Mm,
then on March the 2nd, I got a call that they needed to do another test, which was strange because the mobile van comes out to the job, so you don't have to take off. You can
mhm,
just go 20 minutes outside and do
mhm,
your exam. But that was the first time that I ever received the call that I needed to come down to the big office to do more testing. So
mm,
that was on March the 2nd. Um, I heard them, but I really didn't hear them. I went back, I had surgery in June to start chemo, and I was like, cancer. I didn't know. They said, you didn't hear. I heard, but I did not hear because, as I said, 4 months prior, I had just
mm,
lost my mom. So I was so buried in grief that
mm,
I just didn't. No, it. So I did chemo from June to September, and then I started radiation. I had 8 rounds of chemo, and I did 28 rounds of radiation, and I finished my radiation in November, which I only did 21. It was supposed to be 28 days, but I just told my doctor I just could not do no more because my skin was burned really bad and I was really raw and I just could not do it. I took a week off. I had took a week off, but then I started back and it was, and I just told them I couldn't, and they figured after they did the scans and everything, it looked like everything was good. So we ended it. I was going to be turning I was planning for my big birthday of turning 45 in February of the upcoming year,
mhm,
but I decided to keep all that money and I pulled it into giving myself a victory and praise party.
mm.
I sent out invitation. I had almost 200 guests, and everybody was like, well, "What's going on?" I said, "Just come." They said, "We got to buy a ticket." I said, "No, it's just a party." They didn't know what a victory and praise celebration was. And
Right,
that's when I had praise dancers and singers that did every song or praise dance that was sung or danced to were the songs that ministered to me as I went through. And
right,
so when I got up to share my stories, I showed all the pictures of how I was directing weddings, attending family events, and everything. And I was showing them, I was just telling them I was a dress up mess. Yeah, I mean, I was just in pain, but no one knew it. So when I shared my story and I pulled off my wig and I placed the crown on my head that had a breast, and the people just started crying. It was like, oh my God, we had no idea. You didn't even let us know. And I watch a lot of my friends, they really was helping me. They didn't know that they were helping me, but they was helping me.
right.
Yeah. So
Wow. I'm
yeah.
just listening to you like that's a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
that's
was.
a lot.
Hmm.
And the fact that you didn't say anything the
Yeah.
whole time, it's just like you didn't miss a beat or so I got the part where I'm understanding that you lost your hair, correct? Because you ended up
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
you
Yes.
ended up losing your hair. And no one noticed the fact that you lost your hair or anything like that?
No, because I always wear wigs. So losing the hair for me wasn't a big thing
Right.
because I always wear, I'm a lady of a lot of colors, attitude. So it didn't bother me. I had my, at that time, my ex-husband, I had him to shave it off.
Okay.
And even my oncologist and them, they was like, "Oh, that you're not devastated by that because all the ladies cry. That's their devastation."
Mhm.
Oh no, you don't bother me. You
Yeah.
know, yeah.
I mean,
I thought she told me since I was going to lose my eyebrows and all of that, and I was like, well, that saved me from getting a march. I ate all the negative things they were trying to
you
throw at me.
came
It's
back.
like we've never had a patient like you. I just don't understand. I mean, nothing is moving you, but I don't know if I wasn't moved because of what they were telling me, or I was just so much buried in grief that it didn't really bother me. And I always tell people they don't understand. I always say that my cancer was a blessing to me, and people don't understand that. And I don't mean a blessing as what I had to go through, but
Right.
it came at a time that I was in grief, and I'm a person that's really terrified of pain
Mm-hmm.
and with needles. So because I was so buried in grief, I was but getting the needles or anything. I was just sitting there taking. I was like, "Ooh!" Now, had I not had that, I
Yeah.
don't know how the situation would. I
Right.
probably would have been
Right.
panicking and stuff. Then,
Right. That's what I
yeah,
was thinking.
yeah,
Even though I hate the fact that you were in grief, but it seemed like it helped you throughout the process.
yeah, yes,
It
it did.
helped you
Yes,
throughout the process. And
yes,
yeah, because I mean, yeah, because it caught me off guard. And I was like, man, she was like, remember, I have another friend. She's a survivor of stage 4 colon cancer. And
yes,
she would still go to work and still do what she needed to do, carry her bag or whatever. And she just kept it moving,
yeah,
She never, there are times where she had her moments.
yeah,
But I mean, you just kick it like a chicken, just
yeah, yeah, yeah.
keep it moving. And it's refreshing to hear that because so many people, not downplaying anyone's, because everyone is different, but yours is definitely, apologize for that. Yours is definitely different from what I've come to know because so many people take it a different way. And like I said, I really think that your grief really helped this situation. I do apologize for that. I'm a diabetic, and so that's my monitor.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah. I know. I know that sound.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right here on my arm, like this, really right in the middle of this. But I'm just real. We all family, so
Yes.
yeah, we all family. But it's your attitude. I just love it. It's like so infectious. So when I see you, like I monitor pages and stuff, and I'm like, man, that chick is kicking. I mean, every
Yeah.
time I look, I'm looking at the hair now. I'm at the bar that I'm just letting you know that
Yeah.
that's gonna be in Georgia one day.
Yes.
But I love your attitude. Now, let me ask you this. Um, Behind the closed doors, I know what people saw on the outside. Let's talk about behind the closed doors. Let's talk about that.
Behind the closed doors was a hot mess. I would be crying. I had a lot of pain. I mean, I just laid in the bed. Sometimes I looked at myself and said, "Girl, you got to get yourself together." Behind closed doors, one time I got so weak that I was in the house by myself,
Mm-hmm.
and I had lived up. My bedroom was upstairs, and I was home alone. I didn't call nobody. I didn't want to bother nobody. But I was really hungry, and I got a refrigerator in my room, but there was nothing in the refrigerator because I usually kept bread, cereal, milk, and I was so hungry, and I was like, "Oh God, somebody got to come." And so, and I had to go to the bathroom. But
Mm-hmm.
at this time, I was like on treatment number 6, 5 or 6, and this one was when the fight really began for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I could not get out the bed. At that time, I couldn't do anything for myself. And I just prayed for the God to give me strength to please get to this bathroom because I could not wet this bed. And so he got me the strength to get to that bathroom. And I mean, I ran to that bathroom like little chicken legs. And when I got there, I just had to just stay there for like 20 minutes because I could not get the strength to get back up.
Wow.
And so when I wanted to get something to eat, I was hungry. So now I had to figure out how I'm gonna get down these steps. I had to get down 18 steps. And I
Wow.
had to figure out how I was going because I knew I couldn't walk it.
Right.
So I crawled on my hands and my knees
Mm.
from my bedroom down the hallway, down the step. Back was like a toddler. And when I got to the end, I just sat because I was so out of breath and so exhausted and tired. And about 20 minutes later, I said, Lord, give me strength. I got strength to stand up on my legs. I got a can of chicken noodle soup out, dump it in the bowl, put it in the microwave for 2 minutes. And I sat on my kitchen floor and ate that soup. And I
Mm,
was downstairs for about 45 minutes. I grabbed me a bag and I just put soup, cereal, milk, water, bread, peanut butter, everything. And I crawled back up the step. And
wow.
I was when I got back up the step, all I could do was raise my hand and say, Lord, I thank you. I was able to get down to feed myself. Yes, but I'm telling you, I was like, oh my God, I am really crawling. I cannot get up. And that's when reality started to really hit him like, you can't even do nothing. You can't even get up. You can't do anything. And so I began to cry. I did begin to cry because I was like, you can't even do. I was like, Lord, I can't take this. I can't take this. Oh God. And I'm telling you, that was the very first time I felt like giving up
Mm,
because I couldn't do no more. And then it was like a voice I heard. My mom, Claire of the day, says, "Get yourself together. You
mm,
can do this." And I was like, "What?" And oh my God! And that became life to me. And it's like, you know what? No more feeling sorry for yourself. You get yourself together and you start pushing and doing whatever you got to do because you got to fight this thing.
mm,
Because even at that time, the pain was so hard I couldn't even stand for the sheet to touch my leg because it felt like nails was all in it attacking me. And
oh,
I just had to and I honestly I medicated myself, taking the pain pills just to sleep, pain pills to sleep. I eat bread and sleep, take the medicine, and that those last three treatment, that's how I did it. Sleeping the pain away.
mm,
Yeah.
mm. Now, by this time, I know you're still active outside or whatever the case may be. Were you home at some point during your treatment, or you worked the whole time?
No, I actually had my treatment doing while I was on vacation for school while we were out for the summer. So I did a performance, and I at the end of the school year you have to do a performance. So
Mm-hmm,
I chose Be Happy. So
mm-hmm.
I told my team we were going to do this, Be Happy. No one even had know. The day before, I had just got my port in my arm, but they didn't even know it.
Wow,
And so I did the Be Happy performance and all of that. And then the next day I was starting chemo treatment. My coworkers had no idea. So
wow.
I didn't go back to school in August because I still was doing treatment. And I went back in September. And when I came back in September, they knew something was wrong, but they couldn't figure it out.
Right.
They just thought they knew I had lost weight. And they just figured, oh, Miss Nero is still really grieving for her mom and
Mm-hmm.
everything. And I would go to school because my doctor, I told him I wanted to go to work because I didn't want people to wonder what was going on. So I would go to work and he would say, well, you only going to work a half a day. You really don't want you to push it. So I would go some days I would stay for the whole 8 hours. And then some days I would get there and they'd see me dragging. They said, no, Miss Nero, you're not feeling good today. We don't know what's going on. And my coworkers would drive me home.
Wow.
Yeah. And so they had no idea. And then they just thought I was grieving my mom. They put together, they know I like chicken noodle soup and ginger ale. So they made this big basket of everything and was bringing it over. And I was like, I'm not coming to work today. I'm just not really feeling well. And so when they found out, oh my God, they were crying. It was like, you came to work and we didn't know we could help you. And I was like, y'all were
Mhm.
helping me. Y'all just didn't know y'all was helping me, but y'all were helping me. And then some days I couldn't drive, and I would call one of my coworkers and I say, "Hey, could you pick me up for work this morning?" And she said, "Oh, something else." I said, "No, just pick me up." And she'll say, "Okay." So they pick me up. They had no idea. Mhm.
Exactly.
Yes,
Now, let me ask you a question. Why did you choose to keep it private?
I kept it private because I know that everybody. When people say they're praying for you, they're not praying for you. And sometimes people just want to come and look at you to see how you look. And I didn't want nobody feeling sorry for me or having a pity party. So whenever anybody see me, even people come to my house, they were unannounced and they'll say, oh, you got company? And I'm like, oh God. I might have been sitting upstairs with the bald head. So, but
Mm,
what I do, I put the wig on real fast and put on the shirt, and I'll get downstairs and I'll just lay on the couch, even though I'm in pain. I
right.
just laying on the couch looking. I'll be like, "Oh God, I'm in so much pain. I need to get back upstairs and stuff
Mhm.
like that." And so that was my reason for not sharing, because people saying they praying for you and they really want to just come and look at you. And but when they looked at me, they could never see me looking bad, honey, because I was. When they see me, I was cute all the time, even though I
Oh,
was in
that's
pain.
right.
I was cute
I know
all the
that's right.
time. I had to do a wedding, and they had treatment that week. And my family and all, First London, you can't do the wedding. You have to get somebody. I said, no, I signed a contract. I got to get there to do this wedding. So at that rehearsal, I was pouring sweat. There was dripping. And they was like, you all right? I said, yeah, I just hot, and I was fanning. And so I did the wedding. And at the wedding, I was like, I can do the wedding. I'm not going to be able to do the reception. I
Mhm.
asked my cousin who was there, I said, could you introduce the bridal party? Because I got to go home and lay down. And I remember I leave out the church. As soon as I got in the car, I just threw up all over my clothes. The only thing I did was call and say, y'all gonna have to help me get out this car. I threw up all over myself, and they were really mad with me. I mean,
Mhm.
because I pressed myself to everything. My niece got married. I sat in, and it was like, you ain't doing nothing. You just sitting in the corner. And I said, yeah. And a funny story was, we were going to the Calabash. They know I love the Calabash.
Mhm.
And I had just had treatment. And it was like, you don't need to go. I said, yeah, but if I don't go, they going to know something matter. So we went to the Calabash. I could not eat because I did not have an appetite. And so my two friends, Bernadette and Tanya, they didn't know I here, but I reminded them when I had my victory breeze. They say, you know what? Londa ain't eating no crab legs. You know she like crab legs. She said, I think Londa had the gastro bypass and she just not telling us. And I was laughing even though I was in pain. And then that night we was going, I was like, it's no way I cannot take a 2-hour ride back to Charleston. We got to get a hotel and stay in Myrtle Beach. I can't go back home. So we just made up something. My ex-husband and we was like, oh, you know what, we already out here. Let's just go ahead and let's just get us a room and just stay the night. And we go
Right.
to the beach in the morning. And so
Right.
they were like, okay, well, we don't have no clothes. I was like, well, we'll run to Walmart and grab something.
There you go.
And then they say,
Go to.
we'll just get one room together. I was like, no, we can't have no room together. I said, they can't stay in this room because you know I got to take this medicine
Mhm.
and I got to take this wig off and everything. He's like, no, we're gonna get our own room. And so we end up spending the night in Myrtle Beach,
Mhm.
and I needed that rest. And then the next day, I felt like 100. I was so
Right.
much better, and they had no clue, no clue at all.
Wow.
And so when I shared a victory, and I said, yeah, I said, I remember the conversation. I said, y'all say Londa had the gastro bypass. I said, no, I didn't have the gastro bypass. I said, I just could not eat. And I was grieving for losing the weight. And with the cancer treatment, I was losing weight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow. That is fun. Oh man,
Yeah.
that's phenomenal. For those who are just tuning in, you're tuning into another Chronicles of a Favorite Woman episode. I have my beautiful guest here, Miss Ylonda Nero, and we're talking about how things are behind closed doors. You can see the glitz and the glam, you can see whatever, but behind closed doors is what we're talking about right now. And when I say a phenomenal woman, this one right here is a phenomenal woman right here.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, and I appreciate you being transparent about your situation. You know, if you could do it all over again, would you do it? That would you have done it differently?
If I would do it all over again, it would be with everything, and no disrespect
Mhm,
to my ex, but I
mhm.
would rather do it without being married.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie. During the marriage, there were times that he helped me really well,
Mhm,
and then there were times then you know how men go. They don't want to hear the crying,
mhm,
and then he had his own issues and things that he was dealing with and battling with.
mhm,
So, but I always tell him that he didn't know that he became a part of my strength too,
mhm,
because I was so dependent on him, and then when he stopped doing or he left me in the house by myself, and I was so embarrassed that I didn't want to tell my family because I know that would have been a problem. I
Mm-hmm.
said, but that became she became my strength.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, he helped when he could, when he was available. And then there was time when I was just left to do it on my own, just
Mm.
being God. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I tell you, but God,
But God.
but
Yes.
God,
Yes.
God. It's I admire your strength. I do. And as women, we have to dig deep sometimes, like real deep
Yeah.
sometimes. So when you have God, He's that focal point. There's nothing that He can't do because the one thing He says, I will never leave you or forsake you. I don't care what man does. Man will do what they do. We're doing to do, but I will never leave you, forsake you. But what I do appreciate is how gracefully you're handling that, just how gracefully you place that out there.
Yeah.
Because you have people out there, you have other women out there going through what you've gone through, or maybe going through now, or what advice would you give? I'm referring to when you have that other person in the picture, whether it's a whatever friendship or marriage it is. What advice would you give to women right now?
My advice I would give to women is going through a cancer treatment is very hard, not only on your family, but even harder with your significant others, because there are things that you can no longer do. And sometimes the other don't understand. Your body is full of pain. You don't feel like nobody pressing up against you, touching you, or anything. You're just in a lot of pain. You just have to love you for who you are. And a lot of time, a lot of men don't know how to handle pain when the women are going through. They just want their needs met.
Mm-hmm.
um I'm just saying, you just have to be strong for yourself. Don't get me wrong, you do have some men who are 100% supportive
Right.
of their spouse, but I've learned from the group of ladies that I work with that doing their treatment, if some of them were married, that they found out that their husband have had an affair.
Mm.
I got one friend, her husband had not even made a whole baby in the marriage because they feel like that's what they want to do. They don't want to be there. They don't want to take you to the doctor. I have one friend, she's deceased now, but her friend treated her really bad because she lost her hair and was losing the eyebrow. And he was like, "You're not looking like the person who I used to love. So you have to let them see you in the good and the bad, the ugly and the good.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's gonna look like this. So there are times you're going to see me, even when they're like, oh, when I was dating, they was like, oh, you walking around with your hair like that. And I said, oh yeah, because you got to see, I go always be looking cute all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you're gonna see me, I'm gonna have a bad hair day,
That's
or
right.
I'm gonna feel like not putting on no clothes.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I love
So, but I'm just saying, for ladies, you just have to be real and be honest with your partner, and you let them know. During the month of October, I always post information about cancer every day. And one time, I did a thing about intimacy
that.
with cancer, and I had some gentlemen inbox me and they told me, wow, I just thought my wife was making that up. I didn't know that was really something. And it was a thank you for the information.
Yes,
Yes.
that is, yeah, that's gonna be a show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really is because that's something serious. That's
Yeah.
something really
Yeah.
serious. Let me ask you something. With the lack of support that your ex gave, how did that make you feel? I mean, at what? Because I know your mom already gave you the pep talk, but as now the enemy is attacking, and he comes in many forms and ways, and this one will be your ex. So how did you get through that?
Well, my mama really taught us how to be very independent. So I
Mhm.
didn't really depend on my ex for a lot. And I have a lot of family support. My daughters and my two aunts didn't skip a beat.
Mhm.
They were there every step of the way. Only time that I didn't tell them, like I said, when I was left in the house by myself for those 2 days 3 days by myself. I didn't tell nobody, but like I said, that was my strength for me to let me know you had start depending on people too much, and you know that you have to do this by yourself
Mm,
because this is between you and God. This is a personal walk. Nobody can walk this but you.
mm.
So I have always been very independent. I let myself I even had to reel myself back in with some things because even though I've been independent, I've been on my own. I've used to pay my own bills and rent. Then the one time I started depending because he was helping, and then when he stopped helping or nothing worked, then it became like a strain because I was just used to that. So I had to reset my mind to get back to, hey, you can't depend on nobody but yourself. You need to get yourself together.
How
And
important?
so,
Go ahead.
yeah, so that's what I do. And yeah,
Yeah.
I have to.
How important is resetting? I,
It's very important. I always tell people when you get the cancer diagnosed, it can be devastating. I tell people cry, have you a party, boo-hoo, cry, pity party, but don't stay there. That's the key.
mm,
Because if you stay there, it will eat you alive. So you have to stay positive even when the bad news is coming. Still find something positive in it. We had some cold days a few weeks ago. I mean, really cold, and I suffer with neuropathy really bad in my hands and my feet,
mm,
especially with the cool weather.
mhm,
And I had, and my hands and my feet were bothering me so bad that I could not sleep. It took me back to my chemo days, and
mm,
I had to sleep with socks on my feet and gloves on my hand because my whole body would be, my hands and feet would feel like ice, and it was just throbbing, throbbing, throbbing. And I was like, oh God, I can't believe I'm sleeping with gloves on. But I said, Lord, I thank you because somebody ain't got no hands
that's
and
right.
somebody ain't got no feet. But I
That's
give you
right.
thanks that I can cover them up and go to sleep. Yeah. So you have to just see the positive and everything, and that's me. And I'm a strong believer about words are very powerful. I don't let people speak things over me. I
That's
don't say it when people say, oh, you in remission from cancers. I said, no, I've been healed of cancer
how
because
about
the root word re means to come again,
that's
and
right.
I want it to come back to me again. So
Mm,
I tell them I've been healed of cancer.
mm. I
Mhm.
love that. That
Yeah.
positive affirmation. I love how you just
Yeah.
whatever you throw at me, I'm gonna throw it back at you.
Yeah.
One thing
Yeah.
you said that I'm very, very big about. I know that everybody ain't good. I mean, everybody don't mean you well. Some people
No.
want to see you suffer. Some people
Yeah.
want to see how you doing. It's a oof, girl. God is awesome. But I tell you, with the attitude, with how you do it, not only do you help yourself, but you're encouragement to other people.
Hmm.
I've seen that, and that's how I got introduced to you. This through the Cancer Warrior group.
Yeah.
So now you're the founder of the group, aren't you?
Yes, I'm the founder of the Miss Cancer Warrior
How did that?
organization, and that God gave me that vision as I was going through my treatment, and before that, I've been the Relay for Life team captain for 8 years at my school for cancer.
Mm-hmm,
I had no knowledge of cancer. I never seen nobody went through treatment. It just was something that was my mom was very passionate about. She
mm-hmm,
didn't have cancer, but she was passionate about the breast cancer.
right.
So I became passionate about it and doing it. And so I was out raising thousands of dollars with the Relay for Life with my school and friends. And so when I was diagnosed, we human, I was upset.
Mm-hmm,
I was mad. I was like, how I get cancer and much as I'm doing out here raising the money and stuff, and then it
mm-hmm.
clicked. Yeah, you raising money and for something you have no knowledge of. You don't
That's
know anything about this. So now when I tell people, that's why I say my cancer is somewhat still a blessing because now I'm able to help other women. They ask me questions. I can tell them information and help them and give them. All before I couldn't tell them nothing. All I know is we raising money for the American Cancer Society.
mm-hmm. So
So
it's
now I'm able to help educate.
Yeah.
ladies and give them information, and I feel really good about it, especially when someone calls and they're like, "Oh, could you tell me about this?" And I always tell people, your first thing, stay off the internet. Your story is not their story. And if you're reading somebody else's story, that thing will have you paranoid and crazy and everything. Everybody battle is different.
Yeah.
Everybody struggle or what they got to go through is different. Everybody treatment is different. I had friends when they took their treatment, they couldn't eat at all. They had thrash in their mouth and all kinds of stuff. I never had any of those symptoms. Diarrhea, upset stomach, their fingernails came off too. I never had any of those. So everybody's story is different.
I love that because as people, we're human. We'll go to
Yeah.
that in a minute to self
Yeah.
medicate or self diagnose ourselves. Ain't got an
Yeah.
MD to our name,
Mm.
but yeah, I like how you said that. Let me ask you a question. Going back when you got that diagnosis, I know with the passing of your mother, and how did you feel? I mean, you were angry, but was it just anger? I mean, when you got the diagnosis?
Really, when I got the diagnosis, I don't even really remember a lot of the diagnosis. I remember them coming in the room and three doctors came in and they were talking to me and telling me things. But at that time, it just sounded like womp, 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 womp. And
Mm,
they was telling me that they was going to do a biopsy and all of this. And I was just sitting there looking. And one time I just started crying and the lady was like, oh, did that hurt? And I was like, oh, no, I just lost my mom. I'm just thinking about my mom. And, and so I really don't even remember how I felt. I just think that I was just so numb with grief
mm,
that
mm,
reality didn't even really set in. Because even when I had the surgery, I told them I couldn't do the surgery because no one knew I was here. I didn't tell my family. So I
mm,
had to reschedule the surgery. So at that time, I had to talk with my aunts, and I had to talk to my daughter, and I have a good friend, Evangelist Polite, because I didn't know how I was going to break the news because she was really devastated by my mom's death. She's
mm,
the first grand, the oldest grand.
mm,
And she was so devastated by that. And all I was thinking in my mind, I don't want her to think that, oh Lord, her mama's going to die too.
mhm,
So I know that that was going to be my fight because I had to fight for her.
mhm.
And then I tell her, I want to see you get married. And I want to see my grandchildren and my great grands too. So I know I got to fight.
That's right.
Yeah. So when I went to the surgery, I remember they prayed for me, my aunts and evangelists and all of us. And when I came back, I was like, "Oh, we ready to go to surgery?" And they said, "You're finished." I was like, "What? I'm finished?" I don't remember anything, anything.
Um,
Yeah.
wow. Ooh.
And I'm just grateful with my family because my aunts attend every infusion with me, every cancer treatment, and we would be there from 8 to 9 hours a day. She just bring
Wow.
her laptop and read. I can sleep or eat. She'll
Mhm,
bring food, and I just look at all the people who just be there. Their loved ones just drop them off and leave them for the 8 9 hours. They don't come back. They don't even know. They don't even have make sure that they have nothing to eat.
mhm.
There's a reception where they have nabs and crackers out there.
Right.
But every year for Christmas, I go back to where I had my infusion treatment at, and I take a bag with crossword puzzle, chapstick, nabs,
Mhm,
crackers, socks, gloves, cups, and everything, and I give back to them because they were good to me. I
mhm.
and I had and so this year, my family and I usually do it. But this year, Shakima Chapman with the Jack and Jill of Charleston, they
Mhm.
needed to do a community project and they did it and they donated over 45 bags to
Wow.
feed to the ladies and gentlemen at the infusion treatment.
Wow. Off
Yeah.
Royal Baptist in the house.
Yes.
Oh, you
Yes,
said
ma'am.
Royal Baptist. I'm recognizing anything.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, yes, that is so awesome and phenomenal. And your transparency is what I love. Transparency is key for me because I tell people, people really need to understand and know. Yeah, you may see the smiley face behind the closed doors. You
You,
know, you
yes, yes,
cry, you
yes,
you you get your discouragement, you get to, but you find that it's like what you said. You can't stay stuck.
yeah.
I want to talk about something else because I mentioned it earlier about self love, the importance of it, because I just see it all in you. Just it's just like illuminating through you. So I just want to concentrate, focus on that because this is the month of love, and love doesn't. You can't love others until you learn to love
Love
God,
yourself.
love yourself, and
Yes.
the, what's the importance of that, Miss Nero? Come on, give it to
I,
us.
oh, I tell them, honey, I tell them, I said, I take my confidence pill every morning. I said, I don't need nobody to boost me up. I ain't need nobody. I said, child, I look in the mirror. I said, girl, you look good today. Or you go get them, girl. Or look at you. I talk to myself. And I said to people, be like, oh, I can't wear no jumpers. You look so cute with your jumpers on. Cause I'm short and I stuff. My jumpsuit looks so funny on me, but you look cute with your jumpsuit. I said, honey, yes, ma'am. I said, but I'm not gonna buy everything now. Just because they make it plus size, I ain't gonna
Okay,
wear everything.
all
I
right.
said, cause I look at myself first and I like, no, girl, that ain't working. Take that off. Even when I go to the store, and I try to like, no, that ain't for you. Put that back. You look cute hanging up on that mannequin. That ain't for you. I said, but oh yeah, I be talking to myself. I
I
take a
know.
lot of pictures of myself. Ooh, I love me. I
Mm,
tell them, ain't nobody can love me like I love me.
I
Besides
love you,
God.
me. I love
I
that
love me some me.
for me.
And I tell them, and after we've always been a family that always travel and like to go places and do things. And I said that when you get a second chance, when you know that your life could have been slipped away, or you celebrate even the more. I
Yeah.
celebrate every day. Every day.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
How important is forgiveness?
Forgiveness is very important. It's the forgiveness is not for the person, it's for you. And I had to do a lot of forgiveness, even in my marriage. And like I said, behind closed door. And it's not to bash
Mm-hmm.
um my ex. I
Mm-hmm.
said, but a lot of things happened. He had some issues that he were dealing with back at the time. Um, but I believe that he's on the right road now. And I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I wish that he was, but like when my mom died, um, he was not there. When
Mm,
my mom passed away, because of his issues and his habits that he had no clue that
mm,
my mom had passed.
mm,
And my mom passed, and then 2 years and one day before on my mom's death date, my dad passed. Two
mm,
years later, my mom died on November the 6th. My dad died November the 5th. And again, he was not there
mm,
then either. And so those things make you become bitter because you start thinking, my mom's death, then I going through the cancer treatment, my dad's death, and then you start just pulling away. And I was married for 8 years, but I can truly say within the 3 years, my marriage to me was over. It was
mm,
dead to me.
mm,
And I was just going through, and there were times where, he tried to do the right thing and try to get, but I was so angry with all the stuff that you have done that
mm,
then I had to learn to say, you know what, London, you got to let this go because
mm,
this is for you. You can't move on and do what you need to do, you know, being mean and treating them a certain kind. You have to say, you know what? I forgive you. It's time to walk away and start doing you.
mm,
And that's what I really did. I just started loving back on my own self. You can't
mm,
love someone more than you love you, or or you trying to help someone and they're not trying to help themselves. And and I say all the time, everything in my marriage wasn't bad. there were some good, there were bad, but there were more bad than good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you good, you good. When you bad, you bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I just had to make up in my mind, enough is enough. I know when I would have enough. Everybody would tell me and everything, and you know, you feel sorry and you want to do, and you nobody gets married to look for a failed marriage.
Right.
But I'm not going to just stay
Mm-hmm.
just to be for
Mm-hmm.
people that
Mm-hmm.
look good and all of that. No, I says no. Londa's bigger and better than that. That's not for me. You know, I tried it, but
Yeah.
I just have to be honest. I have to love me. And when you see sometimes there's no change or there's nothing, or you keep repeating the cycles every year, the same thing over, you have to decide for yourself.
Mm.
Because you know what? If you keep on that stress, it'll
Mm-hmm.
eat you up and you'll be dead and gone, and people still be doing the same thing.
Exactly.
Yes.
They will
Yeah.
mourn you for a week, and that's a wrap. A week,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that's a wrap. And
Yes.
I love how you said that. How you finally, you finally had to get to the point, and you said something very important. You don't have to stay.
Yeah.
You don't have to stay. At some point, you got to get to that point. And did you find yourself to a point where you had to forgive yourself for
Yes.
allowing? That's what.
And you really have to forgive yourself because you will say to yourself, okay, now you know you should have been gone. You should have done this because for people, that's why I say for people,
Mhm.
because even when I finally got my divorce, I had not filed 2 times before, but I let people talk me out and
Mm.
telling me this, and people say, "Oh, you know, half a loaf better than no loaf," and I'm like,
Mm.
"That works for you, not for me, because I can make my own loaf, or I can take my half a loaf myself and make it do what it have to do and multiply it."
Mhm.
So I I just stopped talking to people and talked to God, and I just moved in silence and do what I had to do for myself,
You said
because
something.
it was not about people. Like I say, people see you on the outside, but they don't know all the stuff that's going on behind closed doors. So
Exactly.
you have to do what you have to do for yourself. It's not that you're trying to hurt anybody or anything, but you can't be in a toxic environment and all of that. You have to do what's good and best for you. And
Mm.
I done that. And I was like, even I had to check myself. And I was like, girl, you ain't never even been like this. How you acting like you what? No, ma'am. Find yourself back and get back. No, that is not how you was
He
raised.
said,
That was not a, and you know, and then they would say, "Oh, y'all know, yeah, your mama think y'all rich, y'all think y'all independent, y'all don't need nobody." And it's not that you don't need nobody; you need the right somebody, not just
right.
anybody.
That's
You know,
right.
yeah. Then they
That's
said that's all. So you can do bad by yourself. I
that's
tell them, no, I do better by myself.
yes. You know,
Yeah.
it's interesting because I read my TD Jakes Bible, being a overcomer of molestation and stuff, and he talks about that. He talks about that self love, and he talks about how some people, when I speak to females, they said that they're not criticized, but they're frowned upon because they're single. I said, honey, you're the best state of your life being
Yes.
single. I had
Yes.
to learn that. I
Yeah.
when you're a single, you are one guy's number one, okay, and it's all about him and loving yourself, and then getting yourself together, how can I get closer to him, how can I get closer to myself. But when you start to love yourself and stuff like that, it can't get no better than that, because when you get married, it's not 50-50 coming together. It got to be 100 100. But you're no longer a whole person. When you're married, you're now you and somebody else. So being
Yes.
single is the best position that you could be in.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. I love that. So we got to end it with some nuggets of wisdom here. You done laid it down.
Mhm.
You done laid it down. So, you have women out there who are been going through, whether it's, a bad marriage, and even going through the cancer in a bad marriage or relationship or whatever. Just nuggets of wisdom, because this is the month of love, as I mentioned before, and how loving yourself, just girl, just go ahead and take it. Just go ahead and go ahead and let them go ahead and school them, because this is just, girl, yeah, go ahead. I'm just gonna be quiet.
Yes. For the month of love, Yes, love yourself. Love and appreciate yourself. Do something that makes you feels good. My mom always taught us that when you get paid, you take all your money and you pay all your bills. My mama say, you work for that money, not the bills. The bills gonna always be there. When you get a paycheck, treat yourself to something. If it's a dinner, a movie, nails, a new shirt, do something for yourself because you've worked hard for that. I love clothes, but I'm not going to buy no lot of expensive clothes. I shop off season.
Mm-hmm.
What I do is I buy them. With the summer clothes going, I buy it and I save it for next summer. So I'm a Clarence girl. I'm a bargain shopper.
Mm-hmm.
Now my daughter and my aunt them they got that expensive taste and the name brand. I'm not into it. I don't care where I buy something from. If I like it, I like it. By the time I accessorize it, it ain't gonna look like where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But love yourself first. Nothing is like self love and self care and
Mm.
it lets you know that you're important. Important. Talk to yourself in the mirror. They tell people think you're talking to yourself. I be talking to myself all the time, having a conversation. Girl,
Mhm.
what you gonna put on today? Oh, what do you think? How you think this look? Oh yeah, I think that. No, I don't think you should put that on. So yeah, you got to love yourself.
Mhm.
Nobody's gonna love you the way you love you.
Mm.
And when you love you the way you love, then somebody else come along, you gonna know how they should be treating you and
Mm.
how what they should do.
Mm.
Hmm.
Love that. Now I'm gonna end this with Cancer Warriors. You started Cancer Warrior, and I've met some beautiful ladies from the Cancer Warrior. I love it, and they have nothing but good things to say about you because, and I see why. I see why. I see why. And so, if people want to find out more about Cancer Warriors, how could they go to find that out?
Okay. We have a Miss Cancer Warrior Facebook page. We also have our new Miss Cancer Warrior website, and that's misscancerwarrior.com. We have upcoming events, we have information, we have a request form if you want in prayer or you want in information. And yes, we got a couple of things we planned for the year. We have our retreat that's coming up next week, February the 15th through the 18th. But that event is already sold out at Myrtle Beach. It'll be 14 ladies that will be attending that retreat. And then we have on May the 4th, we have our breast cancer awareness walk and registration for that is $25 for individual. If you get a team of 10 or more, it's $20. And then we also have an event shirt that you can purchase if you would like, or you can design your own shirt if you want to walk as a group or team or individual. And then on June the 2nd is National Cancer Survivors Day. And that's a dinner celebration where we celebrate all types of cancers and we bring in different speakers with different types of cancer and just celebrate and love on each other. That's a very great event. For the last 3 years, we have made the National Cancer magazine with our events with
Hey.
pictures. And then in November, we will have our sixth Miss Cancer Warrior pageant. I don't have the theme with that yet because God hadn't released the theme to me yet. But we usually start advertising and taking applicants for that in May, June until about July, August for to get all our ladies in. And the pageant has grown. We have ladies that when we our first year was just local Charleston and surrounding area. And then the second year we crossed over into Columbia and North Carolina. And now we're reaching over in Michigan and Houston and Virginia, Atlanta. So
Yeah.
we're
Right.
really proud. I be like, y'all coming to Charleston to do
Listen, I'm
the
gonna,
little pageant?
we gonna
And in
pause.
my mind, I call it a low pageant, but
No,
it
it is
really
not
is
low.
big in God's eye because they're traveling, coming to the pageant.
Well, I'm gonna pause right there because your current queen is from Michigan.
Yes.
Yes, Miss
Yes.
Ashley.
Yeah.
Yes. And we
Yeah.
had the pleasure of talking with her on two occasions,
Yeah.
and She's just awesome. So whatever you're doing, keep doing because it's working and it's reaching the masses. And
Yeah.
sometimes I tell people, you don't know who is watching you. Just keep doing what you're doing because you don't know how you are influencing other people. So I just want to continue to encourage you, Miss Yolanda, on what you're doing and the efforts that you're doing because it is making a difference and it is making a statement. So just keep doing you because it's working, honey. And I like that, talking in the mirror because I like to talk to myself sometimes too. I got to remind myself, hey, girl, I have to because there are
Yes,
times where, I had that battle, that enemy be coming at me, and I
that's right.
myself,
Yes, you will.
who I am and whose I am. And so
Yeah.
I love how you just take the trauma in your life and just took it by the horn. It was like, no, you're not going to handle me. I'm going to handle you. And I
They're gonna
love it.
handle me. That's right. I say
Right.
cancer. I might have had cancer, but cancer ain't had me.
That's right. I love
Yes.
it. I love
Mhm.
it. Well, I thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I'm happy that we were finally able to get this, but I just knew all things happen for a reason. All
Yes.
things happen for a reason. And I just appreciate you. So I'm going to put you on the backstage and I'm going to close out the show. So thank you so much. And like I
Thank you.
thank you so much. And I'll be back with you in a second. So there you have it. There you have it. It can't get any better than that. I'm loving the month of love. Now, love is all year round, but it's celebrated at least with Chronicles on February. So, with that being said, Miss Yolanda has a birthday coming up on February 26th, and mine is February 14th. So, good women here, strong women at that. So, with that being said, thank you for all for tuning in. I will see you again next week, and I have a special treat next week, honey. It's going to be awesome next week because I'm going to have quite a few couples coming with me. What women want, what men want. So this is going to be a special time. So with that being said, I love you, but God loves you more. Have a good night.